Hey there, I'm Talia, founder of Workweek Lunch, and today we are going to get into how to stock your pantry from scratch. How much it costs, how to get started, what to do. I'm going to take you through step by step because I just went through this process since I moved to Seattle 8 weeks ago. Let's get to it. As I said, I just moved to Seattle and we've been here for 2 months, and this video is long overdue because I stocked my pantry the first week we got here and I saved all the receipts. So I made sure that I saved them to shoot this video. I will say there is kind of one caveat to my situation, and that is since I moved from New York, where I already stocked my pantry, to Seattle, I was able to take a bunch of stuff with me. I took a lot of my dry goods like flour, oats, sugar, and all that stuff, as well as my spices. So I didn't stock my pantry this time around completely from scratch. I would say I had about 25% of it come with me from New York. But I've still gone through this process. I have to do it in New York, I have to do it in Colorado when I moved there, so I've done this a few times, and I'm really excited to share my tips. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comments. I'm happy to answer them if I didn't get to answer your question, but hopefully I've covered it all in this video. So here is my dry pantry. We have, starting over here, flour, white sugar, brown sugar, whole wheat flour, and oats on the bottom row. We've got rice, quinoa, there's only a little left, lentils, and a lot of different pastas over here on the right. At the very top, we have things I don't use that often, like wild rice, corn flour, panko breadcrumbs, regular breadcrumbs, more pasta, and instant oats. That is the extent of my dry pantry. And I will say these containers are really, really handy. I love them. I'll link to them in the description. I'm really happy that I store things in clear containers. It makes it easier to look at my pantry and it makes things feel more organized. So I highly recommend these. And when in doubt, you can use mason jars. Also, you can use empty containers from previous grocery store items. So this was, I think, a rice. So I think there's some kind of, I think this is jasmine rice, and now it's storing my wild rice. So I save a lot of these containers for storing items like this. In this cabinet, we have the bottom are like canned goods, maple syrup, peanut butter. There's olives hiding back there. There's popcorn here. So normally I have some more canned goods, but I am running a little low. That's okay. We have plenty for the next month or two. Up here we have like random ingredients and snacks. This is where they all live. So it's you know, Thanksgiving is next week, so I was testing some stuff. I have extra stuffing, I have crackers, cranberries, graham crackers, hot chocolate, fig bars from Costco, all kinds of stuff up here. At the top here I have random stuff and honey because it doesn't fit anywhere else in these cabinets. Trying to keep things very manageable, very neat. I can see everything and it's not overwhelming, so it just kind of inspires me to cook more. So down here we have our overflow pantry. So this is where like the rest of the Costco items live. Like we have all of the rest of our cans, olives, peanut butter, more popcorn. We have our olive oil and avocado oil over there. Oats, as you can see, flour and sugar. We have so much left. So that's kind of where all of our overflow pantry lives. Again, notice how much space we have and how few ingredients we have. Like I really don't need that much, and I am very aware of not filling the space just because I have it. And then over here we have the spices, which I've shown before on the kitchen tour video. I will link to these containers in the description, but these all came with me on the move. I didn't have to buy or replace any of these. So I will say, like, I'm not sure exactly how much all of this cost to build up over time, but I will tell you that it was slow, and some of it came from my mom and my grandma, and I've kind of got some hand-me-down spices in here too. So this cabinet is really just for larger spices, and there are some vinegars, vanilla, baking powder, more oils and salt, and just the bigger spices kind of live here. This again, this is where my more random stuff lives, but I can confidently say that I use most of it, you know, throughout the month. Let's not forget the fridge door. So we have in here like soy sauce, hot sauce, barbecue sauce, mustard, pasta sauce, rice vinegar, Dijon mustard, ketchup, wine, And then up here we have smaller like sesame oil, more ketchup, heavy cream salsa, chili garlic paste, Thai curry paste, milk, garlic, chocolate, butter. So that's the fridge door pantry that I was talking about. So you arrive at your kitchen in your new place and you have nothing in it. What do? So first, the first thing to think about is, what do you like to cook? And also, what is your budget? I'll tell you what my situation was. Obviously, I cook almost every day. I cook every single week without fail, and I need a lot of ingredients. It's just 2 of us here, so we probably need less than a family of 4, but more than just like the average person who likes to eat out a lot. Space is also a factor here. As you can see, I have a pretty big kitchen. You can check out the kitchen tour in another video. I'll link it in the description. But this kitchen is much bigger than my New York kitchen. I will say, just because I have more space though, doesn't mean I necessarily need more stuff. We were able to get very far in my limited New York City kitchen space, and I haven't really filled my cabinets, which you'll see in a bit. I'm kind of been sticking with the same amount of food even though I have more space. It's good. I like to be a minimalist. The 2 most important factors here are how much space you have in your kitchen and what your budget is. I will say that when we were saving money for this move, which again I have a video about that, we budgeted for the pantry stock up. So we had money set aside for this whole process. Of course, some of us don't think ahead that way, and that's not always the case. There are many ways to do this. I'm just showing you the way I did it in this video. So my first stop was to get the bulk stuff at Costco. There's Sam's Club, there's BJ's, there's Bulk Barn in Canada. There are so many different stores to stock up at. I like to go to Costco. We have membership, totally worth it, and you can see what a normal haul looks like in another video of mine. I'll pop that in the description as well. But this haul ended up being $500 total, including some stuff like a vacuum cleaner, which was like 130 bucks. I'm just gonna cover the food costs. So the food costs ended up just being $292. But the whole bill was $500, just to put that out there. What did we get at Costco? Well, I'll put a whole list in the description, but we got, frozen things from ground turkey and ground beef to dry pantry goods like flour, sugar, and oats. We also got refrigerated items like butter and soy sauce and ketchup. So we've got a little bit of everything. I'll put the whole list in the description, but it ended up being $292. It's 8 weeks later, and I will say we have only run out of a few things. We've run out of chickpeas and Rayo's pasta sauce. The rest we have. We still have plenty of ketchup, plenty of flour, sugar, all that stuff. Oh, we also ran out of butter from our first haul, but most of it we still have, making it well worth it. See, the whole point of Costco is that you don't have to worry about buying these things every single week. It ends up saving you money, also brain space, because you just don't have to add these things to your list every week. It's awesome. I also think Costco is great for household items like toilet paper, paper towels, dish detergent, trash bag liners. We haven't had to buy any of that stuff. We probably won't have to buy trash bag liners until another year. It's just kind of crazy how much bulk buying household supplies can really help you, especially if you're on a budget. It is more investment up front though, so not everyone can do it. I just know that if you can do it, it's a good idea. So that was the Costco haul. The second place I went to was just a regular market for my fridge door pantry. So the fridge door pantry is all your condiments and sauces that you're gonna use in your cooking, as well as on the side. Your ketchup, mustard, soy sauce, all this stuff. So here's what I got. I also picked up all my vinegars and some other smaller pantry items that I would need in my cooking that I wouldn't want to get at Costco, like red wine vinegar, white wine vinegar, rice vinegar, all these kind of smaller bottles that I don't necessarily want to buy in bulk. What else? I got sesame oil, miso paste, oyster sauce, chili garlic sauce, all these little sauces I use all the time in my cooking. This I got at the regular market. I ended up spending $52.37 on just my fridge door pantry and the oil, spices, and vinegars I got, which really isn't bad if you think about it. These things have a long fridge life. They can last in the fridge for a while. They don't go bad. So I'm really cool with spending that $50 on things that will take my cooking to the next level. So the last place I went was Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's is good for certain specialty items that can be more expensive in other stores. That's just what I found. Again, I didn't have Trader Joe's in New York City. It was kind of far away and kind of a schlep. I avoided it because it was the lines were crazy, but here in Seattle, I was able to go to Trader Joe's really early one morning. There were no lines. It was bliss. So I picked up a couple specialty items like tahini, canned pumpkin, coconut oil, balsamic vinegar, Dijon mustard, and quinoa. Those are the things I got at Trader Joe's because I knew I'd get them a little bit cheaper there than at the regular grocery store, especially tahini, which can be like $10, $12 at the regular store. It's only like $3 at Trader Joe's. It's amazing. The total for that was 20 bucks. Totally worth it. I'm glad that I went to Trader Joe's instead of a regular store for these items, and I think I'll end up going there for some pantry stuff like once every few months. Trader Joe's is not like a regular weekly stop for me. The specialty items just don't really, light me up in any way. So I just get it for some random specialty items like that. So the total, everything, all together, stocking the pantry in Seattle, again, including the fact that we brought spices and some other dry goods with us, was $366. Not bad because we had budgeted about $500 for that. So I'm really happy with that price. The extra remaining money from that budget went to more household cleaning supplies, a Swiffer, a broom, a step stool, like all those little things you kind of forget about when you're moving. So we had room in our budget. It ended up being great. And I'm so happy we stocked up this way, even though we had to visit 3 different stores. If you're watching this and you're thinking $360, it's way too much for me to invest in pantry, I get it, and I've been there. And if I was on a stricter budget, what I would do is build up my pantry slowly over time. I would start with the core essentials, what you cook with most. So for me, that's like flour, oats, sugar, rice, and certain staples like that. And then every week when I go to the store, I would probably add 1 or 2 pantry items to my cart and build it up slowly that way. It doesn't have to be this like giant expense all at once, and you don't have to go to Costco. You don't have to have a Costco membership to do it. There are many different ways to approach this. If I was on a budget for my fridge pantry, I would get soy sauce, ketchup, and mustard. You can do a lot of those ingredients in your cooking, honestly. And then I maybe get some barbecue sauce and miso paste on top of that. Over time, if you kind of take that slow and steady approach, you'll have an amazing pantry at the end of a few weeks of doing this. Sometimes less is more. You don't need to buy tons of random little sauces. I try to avoid that, honestly, and I try to make substitutions where I can. And if I buy something new for my pantry, I definitely want to make sure that I'll use it in more than one recipe. By the way, if you're wondering where really to start and you want a concrete list of things to have in your pantry, I have a link to a list in the description that you can sign up for, so you can grab that in the description. It's free. The first question is it beneficial to put things in containers, and what containers do you use? Okay, is it beneficial to put things in containers, and what containers do you use? Yes, it is absolutely beneficial to put things in containers, because otherwise you just have bags of stuff. This is not ideal, and I'm still working on this, as you can see. But you don't want this. No one knows. I've kind of consolidated mine in this thing, but it's not great. Instead, you want things to look like this. So this is just a mason jar. I love using mason jars for storage. The only issue is they're not that big, so you have to make sure that you're using mason jars for things that you're like halfway through and need to transfer into something. I absolutely adore these for storage. This is a BioKips container. And I use these for flour, oats, sugar. There's a whole set, and I'll link to it in the description, but I love these. They have snap lids so that no air gets in really, and things just stay really fresh and good. I happen to be holding whole wheat flour, which is actually better to store in the freezer because it can go bad. If it smells like Play-Doh, it's gone bad. Luckily, I use mine a lot, so I'm constantly refilling this thing, so I don't worry about it too much. But if you haven't used your whole wheat flour in like 6 months, you may want to check it. When it comes to containers though, you really can use anything from mason jars to meal prep containers to, again, reusing jars that you are, that you bought in the store and they're now empty. Run them through the dishwasher a few times and they'll be good to go. So there are plenty of ways to do it, but I highly recommend having nice, beautiful, clear containers to look at your pantry items in. Because they don't want this. We don't want it. Okay, what's another question we got here? How long do pantry items keep in the pantry? So things like flour and rice and these kind of and sugar, they're gonna keep for a while. Regular flour can last in the pantry for up to a year. Sugar can last for up to 2 years. I mean, if you're cooking a lot, you really don't have to worry too much about how long these things last in the pantry. They're gonna be okay. Canned goods can last for 2 years as well. I mean, it's crazy, so don't worry too much. And when in doubt, just Google it. How do you keep track of everything in your pantry? There are a couple ways to do this, but I would say having a minimalist approach really helps you be able to track things in your pantry. Being able to see everything is really important, so if you can kind of arrange your containers so the tall stuff is in the back and the short stuff is in the front. I've kept lists and Excel spreadsheets of what's in my pantry, but I cook so much that it's hard to keep those updated, to be honest. I've seen people put a list in their pantry door, like kind of taped to the cabinet door, and you can write stuff. Maybe even a whiteboard would be great in that situation. There are a lot of different ways to do it, but I would say having the clear containers helps so much to be able to just see what's in your pantry at all times. So I asked Instagram for questions, and the most common one was, what are the essentials? And again, that is in the description, so you should grab my link there. You know, everyone has different essentials, so if you want to know what mine are, it's in the link. So I hope you found this video helpful if you're making a move or if you're thinking about stocking your pantry from scratch and really getting into it. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments, and I also would love to know what you think about how much I spent on my pantry. Is it a lot to you? Is it a little? For 2 people? I'd love to hear from you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe on your way out, and I'll see you next time. Bye!